I often get comments on my videos saying that I am trying to manifest, I've been trying to manifest, I've been trying. The word try comes often. And even in my consultation sessions, one-on-one, it's the theme of trying something to manifest happens a lot. And so I wanted to discuss that. And something came to my mind, which is something Yoda said in Star Wars, where he says that do or do not, there is no try. And which got me thinking that Neville Goddard never said that try to go to the end. He said go to the end and appropriate it. Find a scene or a state of being that signifies that you have what you want, and then occupy it. So trying is a trap of the ego, or the outer man. There's the inner man, which is, Neville Goddard says, the Christ within, or the Son of God, and there's the Son of Man. There's two distinctions in the Bible, and Neville Goddard differentiates it by the Christ within and then the persona, the human persona. So the human persona tries. The Christ within does not try. Furthermore, God, the essence of God within, does not even understand trying. This is why there was many times Neville Goddard quoted the Bible verse that the double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, which is basically trying to say the same thing, that this world and this life is being lived by the human persona and ego, but it's so-called illusory or fake self, because it is not our real self, right? The real self is the Christ within. And the Christ within, or the essence of God within, or the inner man, just understands intention and faith, right? Without faith, it is impossible to please Him. So what is this faith? The faith is just a glorified way of saying that you do not go back and forth in your intention or desire, right? So God does not weigh the pros and cons of a thing, right? Because if He did, He would never become man, because there are way too many cons in this human life. It's pretty bad for some people. So, but God desired to become man to experience limitation. So man has this habit of trying, or being double-minded, or trying to ride two boats at the same time. There is a saying something like, if you ride two boats at the same time, you will get nowhere. They will rip you apart if you try to stand on both. So this idea of trying is an in-between state, right? Neville Goddard says to go to the end. You are in a state of being right now, and then there is a state of being where you want to be, right? You desire to be. You already have the desire. So to desire a state is to have it, means you already found what you want, so you already have the desire in mind, in consciousness, in imagination. You already have it. You know exactly how to fulfill it, right? What kind of scene will end up implying that it is fulfilled. For example, somebody desires a home, so they already know they desire a home, so they can go in the mind and live in their home, right? So they already know the desire is there, they have it. Now trying comes when you think of how I'm gonna get there. You try to bring logic into it. All the human tools, the brain tries to rationalize it. It starts to look in the bank. Do I have enough money? Do I have enough skills, intellect? Or maybe I will get scammed, you know. Or maybe I'm not good enough, you know. There are the worthiness, family background, so many things. All of that is the process of trying, right? Because the ego is trying to come up a way, because it doesn't trust the inner man. It doesn't. This is why, again, without faith, it is impossible to please Him. So it's just a simple way of saying that there is do or do not, there is no try. Basically what it means is, you know what you want, you have that in the form of desire, right? You know what you want. And by applying law of assumption, Nalga says go to the end and imply that you construct a scene that implies the fulfillment, or just assume that you have what you want and that's it. There is no trying to assume, you just assume it. How does that look like in practice? For example, so I wanted to buy a flat in Russia, and I have made a whole video about it, how I did it, and there were many problems which my conscious mind, my egoic mind created, because Russia is under a lot of sanctions. So transferring money was a big deal, and I kind of got into that whole limitation, and I appropriated it, and I then went through it. But basically, at the end, I got what I wanted. And so when I was trying, when I got into the mindset of trying, I remembered, do or do not, there is no try. Neville God never says try to go to the end. He says go to the end and occupy it, appropriate it. So I realized that, and when all the so-called problems were going on in trying to manifest the flat, I would say that I'm already at the end. It is mine. So why am I even trying to make it happen, or why am I thinking about it? It is mine, it is done. And I would imagine walking around in the flat, having, I have a habit of walking around, so I would do that. And simply whenever I got the doubt, I would just replay the scene and say that it's done, it is done. What is trying, or what are you talking about? Like totally disassociation with the so-called trying of the outer man or the ego, because it is a master manipulator. Once you start to rationalize with it, once you start to use logic with it, it will win. This is why without faith is literally the opposite of the so-called reason. Because why? Faith is loyalty to the unseen, and reason can only rationalize with that which is seen or known, and faith is literally unknown and unseen. And so it doesn't work that way. So trying is a trap. Trying is a trap. So do not fall into it. The law is absolutely simple. Really, it is very simple, which is know what you want and construct a scene, and imaginally, in imagination, live there, or an assumption, form an assumption which is though false. It is false right now in this manifested world, but it's true in imagination. So an assumption, though false, if persisted in, persistence is where you stick with the new state. You do not succumb to the reasoning mind. So an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. And that is when it hardens into fact. It has to first harden into fact in your mind. So there is no trying. Again, it's not a trying process. It's just a commitment, an intention, right? You know what you want, you say that you have it, and then you do not entertain anything else. It doesn't matter if it shows up right now or it's not showing up. It doesn't matter if you see some signs or you don't. It doesn't matter if, so-called the way you were expecting it happened or not. None of that matters, right? That's the part of trying, and again, not presenting faith and loyalty to the unseen. It's totally unseen, right? The things of the unseen cannot be rationalized. And so trying is a trap. And as the great Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. So either you do, either you are who you say you are, or you're not, right? This in-between fluctuation is just a waste of time, right? So reason and trying is all waste of time. You just keep it simple. You know what you want, you construct a scene, you live in it in your imagination, you use your words, the affirmations, to affirm the truth of who you are, you say you are, and that's it. No more trying, right? Oh, I'm trying to manifest, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. Trying is a trap, and it will forever keep you in the reality of trying, because even trying is an assumption, right? It's an assumption that you're trying to make something happen. That's also an assumption, and so it's playing out. So just plunge in, face forward, and don't look back. And you will truly see, because every single manifestation that I have manifested, initially they were all kind of failed because I was trying too hard. And then I would say, F it, I didn't give up, you know. And I would kind of present praise and impotence, as Naoka said, like praise and impotence. I don't care what I see, I will present faith to the unseen. And then the unseen became seen. So that's how it works. Reason and logic has failed me many times. It's uncountable. But faith, whenever I have presented it fully, I'm not gonna say that it's absolutely super easy to shut out your brain. Even the masters have not been able to completely, kill the ego or so-called master their mind. But you can practice it, and the more you practice it, the more you get better at it, like anything else. And so the more faith you occupy or use or apply, the more things from the unseen will be brought into your life. But the more you are cling to the seen, well then seen is already here, and it's not going to give you something drastically different, right? It's going to give you more of the same. So there is no point in looking into this world. There is no point in looking at your already so-called manifested past. There is no point in using your brain or the data that you have in your mind to try to, trying again. There is no point. Either you do or you do not. There is no try. So I guess this is it for this video. Until next time, bye bye.